on today's show, I'm going to tell you how the Houston Texans can take down Goliath, the Kansas City Chiefs. The big bad boogeyman in the AFC over the past 5 years. Can the Houston Texans essentially knock them out of the playoffs on Sunday Night Football? I think so. I'm going to give you 5 reasons why I think that's possible this weekend. But I asked my live chat. I'm filming this live on Texans Today. We go live every Wednesday, 3:30 Central Time. Their confidence level in beating the Chiefs. 1 to 10. I saw a lot of 10s in the chat. So let me know. Sound off. What's your confidence level in beating the Chiefs this week? It's pretty high for me. I'm at about an 8 out of 10 right now. But let me know. How confident are you in the Houston Texans this week? Without further ado, let's get right into it. The keys to victory for your Houston Texans. First up, I think you got to stop their run game. Because with all the injuries along their offensive line, they're going to want to stay ahead of the sticks. And how do you do that? By picking up some yardage on the ground. And they have 2 decent running backs in their backfield. Isaiah Pacheco has been injured this year, but still 81 carries, 345 yards. He's averaging 4.3 yards a carry. And Kareem Hunt, the lead back in Kansas City this year. What year is it? 2021 with Kareem Hunt? 130 carries, 515 yards, 4 yards per carry for Hunt. He has had a little bit of a resurgence going back home to Kansas City. But I think the running back we got to worry about the most is this guy right here, Brashard Smith. Because, yes, you have Kareem Hunt. Yes, you have Isaiah Pacheco. But the rookie out of SMU, he's been the guy, and I know what you're saying. Jeremy, 29 carries, 87 yards. You think he's going to be the X factor? Yes, because Brashard Smith is the guy out of the backfield that I think catches the ball better than any running back they have on this Kansas City Chiefs offense. And with all the injuries they have, you know they're going to try to get the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hand. You know they're going to try to set up the screen game, set up, quick passes to the running back in the flat, bubble screens here and there, maybe put Brashard Smith out there, flex him out to one of the slot positions. I think he is going to be a big factor in this game, and I know the Chiefs also have former Texan Dameon Pierce on their practice squad. We'll see whether or not they pull him up to the active roster this week. It might be a, revenge game for him if he's able to, be elevated and play for the Chiefs. But, overall, I think with everything going on in Kansas City, this is the name that we got to watch out for. Brashard Smith, the rookie out of SMU. He's been really good catching the ball out of the backfield. My second key to victory, you got to get pressure with a spy, and I don't think that'll be too difficult for your Houston Texans with the offensive line that the Chiefs are going to trot out there. This is their projected unit with all the injuries they have. If you didn't see my video earlier this week, Josh Simmons, their rookie left tackle, he just got put on short-term IR. He's going to be out the next 4 weeks. You also have Jaylin Moore at right tackle, possibly in for Jawan Taylor. He's questionable for this weekend. Right guard, arguably their best offensive lineman, Trey Smith, is probably going to be out. He's dealing with a severe ankle sprain, so that leaves this unit out there. And if you can get after Mahomes with a spy, make sure he's not able to scramble, run for first downs, that'll be huge. And the 2 keys on Mahomes is this. You got to play smart. We all know this. You got to play smart because Patrick Mahomes is going after an Emmy, going after an Oscar this weekend. He is going to be foul baiting like we've never seen before. I expect Mahomes to yell at the refs at least 5, 6 times this Sunday. You already know every time he gets hit, it's going to be looking at the refs. That's Mahomes' game. He tries to get bailed out every single week by the refs. And it's going to be no different, especially with all the lineman injuries they have. He will be acting at his top level up against the Houston Texans. And then number 2, you can't let him run and break contain. And I think that comes in with having a spy. And I think this guy, Jalen Petrie, who first came back after being in concussion protocol, everybody was talking about C.J. Stroud, me included, about him being in concussion protocol with, him being out. Somebody who really has stepped up this year and has played fantastic has been Jalen Petrie. And they're going to use him as a quarterback spy. They're going to use him as an extra blitzer. They might even pair him up against Travis Kelce here and there whenever they put him in the slot. He's going to be a big key into getting pressure on Mahomes and also making sure if Mahomes does break contain or if he steps up in the pocket, tries to run, that he doesn't have, 15, 20 yards of free grass ahead of him. So I would even say, be able to blitz him, but also you can send 3 or 4 and have a spy there kind of following Mahomes. That might be the best course of action because Patrick Mahomes loves to use his legs to get first down, and he's one of the slowest fast runners in the NFL. I mean, every time I see him scramble, it looks like he's jogging, but it seems like nobody can catch up with him. So if the Texans, if they can make sure they get pressure on him and have a spy, that'll be key into stopping this Chiefs offense and really kind of stopping Patrick Mahomes this Sunday night. Now, I have a couple more keys to victory coming up in just a moment, but I couldn't do today's show if it wasn't for our amazing sponsor over at Prize Picks. Get started today with America's #1 fantasy sports app out there. Join the millions of users and sign up today. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. It's the holiday season, the best time of the year for sports, bowl games, basketball matchups, playoff pushes, and it's all happening at once. And while you and I are out here making decisions every day, what gifts to buy, what to eat, which games to watch, there's one place where it feels good to be right, and that is Prize Picks. There's a new feature alert. Prize Picks now offers early payouts. If your lineup gets off to a hot start, you may now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. And for this game up against Kansas City, well, I got a lineup already ready for you. And I'm actually using one of Prize Picks' other newest features. It's called Stacks. You can choose one player from any sport and go up to 3 projections. So for this lineup, I'm using a stack with Jayden Higgins. He had a really good game this past week, and I think he'll have another good game up against Kansas City. I'm going more on his receiving yards and a demon pick, which means, to pay out a little bit more. I'm going more on his rushing and receiving touchdowns at 0.5. Then I'm going Patrick Mahomes less on his passing yards and Will Anderson Jr. more on the sacks. You can use my lineup or go make your own. Just do it over on Prize Picks, which is available in more than 45 states, including California, Texas, Florida, and Georgia. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. All right, next up, keep Mahomes on the sideline. And I'm not talking about injuring Patrick Mahomes. I'm not somebody who's wishing for injury. I don't want, I don't need a Sean Payton bounty gate scandal, which, funny enough, C.J. Stroud got hurt against the Broncos. I wonder who's coaching the Broncos these days. Either way, I'm not getting too much into that. How you keep Mahomes on the sidelines is your offense stays on the field. That leads to this guy right here, C.J. Stroud. How will he play up against Kansas City? I thought had a really good second half up against the Colts. First quarter started off a little shaky, but as the, game went on, as it kept on going, I thought he looked really good. He made some big-time throws. He was a little bit rusty. He overthrew some guys, but it's really going to be whether or not this Texans team can keep their guys on the field and convert third downs. And that also means getting to those third and manageables, second and manageables with the run game as well. So I'm looking at Woody Marks, Nick Chubb. Now, Woody Marks did miss practice on Wednesday, but D'Amico Ryans came out and said these guys should be fine, that it's more of a rest issue with a couple of the guys, him, Will Anderson, Trent Brown, all missed practice on Wednesday. But you see a little bit of a two-headed monster that the Texans have with Woody Marks and Nick Chubb. You need to be able to get those guys going, get some good yardage plays, and keep these drives alive. The Texans, they've got to clean up the offensive penalties as well. Nothing's more frustrating than self-inflicted penalties, self-inflicted wounds whenever you're on offense. You got to be able to avoid those and stay ahead of the sticks. Avoid 3-and-outs and win the time of possession. If the Texans win the time of possession up against the Chiefs, I think more likely than not, they're going to win this game on Sunday Night Football. Because if the Texans are able to get the Chiefs off the field, get good field position, which, this defense, number one in the NFL in most categories. Points per game, yards allowed per game, a ton of different categories. The Texans defense, they are absolutely killing it. But I think the offense being able to stay on the field, keep Mahomes on the sideline, that'll be a big key to victory for your Houston Texans. And quick question, maybe a fun one. How bad do you want to see Mahomes get hit on Sunday? Just let me know down in the comment section. How bad do you want to see Mahomes get hit on Sunday? Because nothing more than whenever I see Mahomes running towards the sideline and then lower his shoulder against somebody or go to the sideline and pretend like he got absolutely just blown up. Let me know. How bad do you want to see Mahomes get hit? Because nothing would make me more happy than to see Danielle Hunter, Will Anderson Jr., Sheldon Rankins get him on the ground double digits. We could get 10 sacks. I would be the happiest man this Sunday night. And I know that is a ton. That's a lot. But I just want to see it so bad. I want to see Mahomes not injured, but I want to see him get sacked. And I want to see it happen often on Sunday night. Next key to victory. Take the points. And this one might not be a popular opinion, but I just mentioned this Texans defense leads the NFL in points allowed. They are, quick mental math, 12 points fewer than the next best team in the LA Rams. So what does this mean? It means I know we all want the Texans to go for it on fourth down. And personally, up against the Colts with how close that game was, I didn't think it was a bad decision for them to go for it on fourth down whenever they did the tush push with Cade Stover, or as we like to call it here, the stove drove. I think normally you want to, be aggressive, be ballsy. You don't want your guys to be too conservative when you're playing up against Kansas City. You want them to be aggressive. But I think 20 points might be able to win this game for your offense. If you're able to score 20 points, I think that's good enough to win with this Texans defense. So if you're I know it's going to suck if we're in the red zone and it's, 4th and 4, 4th and 5, you're at the 5 or 6 yard line. I know it's going to hurt. And I know I'll probably look back on Sunday night whenever I'm live here on the Texans Today channel, whenever I'm doing my watch party, going, I want us to go for it on fourth down. But I need everybody to remember, we got to take the points. We got to, when we have them, we got to be able to take the points. And I know it's going to suck kicking field goals here and there, but I think at the end of the day, I think you got to settle here and there. Maybe not every time, but when you can, take the points. That's my next key to victory. And lastly, this is a playoff game, everybody. This is a playoff game for your Houston Texans. As we look at the current AFC playoff picture, they are one game out of a playoff spot, the wild card at 7-5. Easily winning this game puts you right into the mix of the wild card. And if you notice, Kansas City, they're right behind you at 6-6. So as I mentioned at the top of the show, you can essentially kick the Chiefs out of the playoffs by beating them on Sunday Night Football. So yes, this is a playoff game, and it should be treated as such. If you lose this game, your playoff chances drastically go down. If you win this game, they drastically go up. We're getting into the nitty-gritty, guys. We are getting to where the rubber meets the road. And this is where every single game matters. There's only 17 of them in the NFL, so they already mean more. But at the end of the season, your last 5 games, when you're one game out of a playoff spot, every single game should be a playoff game for your Houston Texans. And none other more than this Sunday night up against the defending AFC champion Kansas City Chiefs, a team that you haven't beat since 2019. That's all I have for you on today's show, folks. Make sure you hit me up on X at Jeremy Chugs. My DMs are open. If you want to chop it up, if you want to tag me in anything you see around Houston Texans, anything like that, you know where to find me, at Jeremy Chugs. And if you made it to the end of today's show, and if you're going to join me on Sunday Night Football, Texans versus Chiefs, let me see those H's flowing down in the comments section. I want to see 1,000 H's because H-Town, we need to hold it down this Sunday. We need to show up. This is a playoff game. This is a game where you can take down Goliath, take down the Kansas City Chiefs, and make sure the Chiefs know the Texans are not to be messed with.